There is something extraordinary about a woman who is divinely covered. She doesn't move through life alone. Heaven moves with her. Angels stand watch, step in, and war on her behalf. These signs reveal that a woman is not just living in her own strength, but in the supernatural protection of God's army. Faith is not something she wears like a decoration. It is the very ground beneath her feet. Every step she takes is rooted in the belief that she is not walking alone. When trials come, she does not crumble under the weight of uncertainty, because her faith tells her that what she cannot see is far stronger than what she can see. It is not that she never feels fear, but that her faith speaks louder than fear ever could. She has learned that fear may visit, but it does not get to stay, because her faith leaves no room for it. From the outside, people often wonder how she continues forward when life seems determined to push her back. The storms blow, the winds rage, but she keeps moving because her faith is her compass. She doesn't need the whole map. She just needs to know the one who holds the map. That unshakable trust keeps her anchored even when others drift. Her faith is not blind. It is focused on a vision greater than her circumstances. She has seen enough battles to know that her strength alone could never have carried her this far. It is faith that has sustained her in the midnight hours, faith that has whispered to her when the tears would not stop, faith that has reminded her of promises that the world could never erase. She clings to those promises like oxygen, and every breath she takes is filled with the certainty that she is covered. Her faith does not mean the absence of struggle. In fact, it often means walking straight into the heart of it. Yet she walks boldly, not because the path is clear, but because she believes that each step she takes is secured. She has the kind of faith that turns obstacles into stepping stones, the kind of faith that transforms tests into testimonies. That faith is what keeps her standing tall when everything around her tries to knock her down. There are days when the voices of doubt surround her, telling her to give up, to let go, to accept defeat. But her faith is louder. It drowns out the noise, reminding her of victories she's already seen, reminding her of the God who never failed her before. She chooses to walk by what she knows in her spirit, not by what she sees in her situation. That is why her faith cannot be shaken. It is built on a foundation that storms cannot destroy. Others may depend on evidence before they believe, but she believes before she sees. She understands that faith is not about waiting for proof. It is about trusting the promise. That trust fuels her every step. It gives her a peace that makes no sense to those who look at her life from the outside. They wonder how she stands so strong, but the answer is hidden in the unseen power that holds her steady. Her faith is not passive, it is active. It pushes her to keep moving even when the ground feels unsteady. She walks with her head lifted, not because the road is easy, but because she knows she is not walking it alone. Her confidence is not arrogance, it is assurance. Assurance that every step is watched over. Assurance that she will not stumble beyond repair. That is the mark of a woman whose faith cannot be shaken. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to prove that faith works. When doors close, she does not despair, she waits for the right one to open. When people walk away, she does not collapse. She trusts that the right ones will stay. When she is pressed on every side, she does not lose her composure, because her faith tells her that pressure produces something greater within her. This is why nothing that comes against her can steal her hope. She does not measure her faith by how easy life is, but by how secure she feels in the middle of the hardest battles. And in those battles, she discovers that faith is not fragile. It is not something that breaks under pressure. It grows stronger with every test. The more she endures, the more her faith expands. The more she is challenged, the more her trust deepens. This is how she keeps moving when others stop, how she keeps standing when others fall. Her faith is her greatest shield. It guards her heart, her mind, and her spirit. It keeps her grounded when the world is shaking. It allows her to smile in the middle of pain, to rise when life has knocked her down, and to believe when everything says doubt. Her faith does not eliminate the battle, but it guarantees that she is never without strength in the middle of it. It is this unshakable faith that marks her as a woman guarded, protected, and carried through by a power greater than herself. Peace is not the absence of problems, but the presence of calm in the middle of them, and she carries that calm like a cloak wrapped around her shoulders. When chaos rises around her, she does not allow it to rise within her. People look at her and wonder how she can still breathe steady when the storm is roaring, how she can still stand tall when the ground beneath her is shaking. But her peace is not rooted in the circumstances. It is rooted in the one who governs them. That peace settles her spirit and guards her mind, keeping her from being swallowed by the panic that overtakes others. There are days when everything seems to collapse at once, when voices of worry and fear scream for her attention, yet she chooses silence over noise, stillness over frenzy. She has learned that peace is a weapon as much as it is a comfort. It shields her from the chaos that tries to enter her heart, reminding her that no matter how loud the world becomes, she can always rest in the quietness of trust. Her peace is not fragile, it is unbreakable, because it is not built on what is temporary, but on what is eternal. She has faced seasons when her life felt like a battlefield, with conflict in every direction and no clear way forward. But in the center of that battlefield, she has discovered the secret of inner calm. Others may rush, others may panic, others may crumble, but she breathes deep and walks steady, because peace is her anchor. It is not something she tries to create. It is something she carries within her. Even when the storm intensifies, she knows she is surrounded by a presence that cannot be moved, and that presence pours peace into her spirit. Her peace frustrates the enemy because it cannot be shaken by intimidation. Where fear is meant to paralyze her, she responds with composure. Where pressure is meant to break her, she remains steady. This peace is not natural, it is supernatural. It is the kind of peace that silences confusion and steadies trembling hands. It is the kind of peace that allows her to sleep in nights when anxiety should have stolen her rest. It is a peace that speaks louder than the chaos ever could. When others lose their way in the noise, she finds her direction clearly. Peace gives her clarity. It sharpens her focus and clears her mind from the fog of panic. Because she is not consumed by fear, she can see what others miss. She can hear the whisper of guidance in the middle of the clamor. Her peace is not just for her benefit. It becomes a light for others, a calm presence that brings stability to those drowning in confusion. There is power in her stillness. The way she carries herself when the pressure rises speaks volumes. She does not need to shout. She does not need to prove anything. Her calm spirit says more than her words ever could. This peace flows from a deep trust that she is covered, that her steps are guarded, that she is never abandoned in the middle of the storm. It is this trust that keeps her from being tossed around by every wind of chaos. Her peace is not passive. It is active. It allows her to stand firm when others collapse. It allows her to respond with wisdom instead of impulse, with grace instead of anger. She is not reactive, she is responsive, because peace gives her the ability to rise above the frenzy and operate from a higher place. When people expect her to break down, she rises up. When they expect her to lash out, she smiles instead. That calm strength disarms conflict and ushers in resolution where others could only bring more chaos. The world around her can be loud, messy, and unpredictable, but her inner world is guarded. That inner peace becomes her fortress, her safe place, her shield. She knows that storms may rage, but storms do not last forever. She knows that confusion may surround her, but it cannot enter her. She walks through the fire without being consumed, not because the fire is easy, but because peace keeps her spirit untouched. This peace gives her the endurance to keep moving forward, even when the weight of life is heavy. It keeps her from being drained by every conflict, every distraction, every attack. While others are exhausted by the chaos, she finds rest even in the middle of it. That rest renews her strength, allowing her to continue with a resilience that surprises everyone watching. She is not rushing, she is not frantic, she is not broken, she is calm, collected, and steady. Her peace is contagious. People who step into her presence feel it immediately. It settles atmospheres. It quiets arguments. It diffuses tension. She doesn't have to say much. Her calm spirit changes the environment by itself. This is why people are drawn to her when everything falls apart, because her peace gives them hope. She becomes a reminder that even in the middle of the most chaotic season, it is possible to stand still, to stay grounded, and to remain at rest in the assurance that she is guarded by something greater than the chaos that surrounds her. There are moments when the weight of life presses so hard against her that onlookers wonder how she has not been crushed. The attacks come in ways that seem designed to target her deepest vulnerabilities. Betrayal from those she trusted, rejection when she least expected it, setbacks that appear at the height of her progress. Each one should have been enough to silence her strength, yet she continues to rise. She has discovered that her survival is not because the attacks are weaker, but because she is held up by a power greater than the force against her. Every scar she carries tells a story of something meant to destroy her that did not succeed. Those scars are not signs of defeat, but of resilience. They are proof that even when arrows flew in her direction, they could not pierce her spirit. She walks with the memory of battles, fought and survived, and that memory becomes her confidence for the battles yet to come. What others see as wounds, she sees as reminders of her unshakable strength. When the attacks come, they often come suddenly, without warning, like waves crashing against her life. At first, the weight threatens to overwhelm her, but soon it becomes clear that she is not standing in her own might. There is a shield around her that catches what was meant to pierce her. There is a strength within her that rises to meet the blow. Though shaken, she is never shattered. Though pressed, she is never destroyed. She has faced seasons when everything seemed to strike at once. Finances crumbling, relationships straining, health faltering, hope weakening. Yet, even in those times, she discovered that what was meant to bury her became the very soil out of which she grew stronger. The attacks only pushed her deeper into her faith, deeper into her resilience, deeper into her purpose. The enemy thought the weight would silence her, but instead, it awakened a fire inside her that could not be put out. There are nights when the heaviness of the attack follows her into her thoughts, making rest impossible. But instead of allowing fear to take over, she finds strength in surrender. In those quiet hours, she reminds herself that if she has endured before, she can endure again. She leans into that truth until the panic loosens its grip and peace steadies her heart. It is in those midnight battles that she learns her greatest strength is not her ability to fight, but her ability to endure. The attacks test her character. But instead of corrupting it, they refine it. She becomes more patient, more discerning, more anchored with each battle she survives. Where others would become bitter, she becomes wiser. Where others would give up, she becomes more determined. The attacks that were designed to break her become the very tools that shape her into a woman of greater depth, greater vision, and greater faith. She does not wear her survival lightly. She knows the cost of the battles she has fought. But rather than letting those experiences harden her heart, she allows them to soften her toward others. Her compassion deepens because she knows what it feels like to be attacked. Her strength becomes a covering for those around her who have not yet found their footing. She becomes not just a survivor, but a guide for others walking through their own storms. Her resilience confuses those who underestimated her. They expected her to fall and not rise again. They spoke words that tried to reduce her. They plotted moves that tried to end her. But each time, she emerges with a strength that makes them realize they cannot stop what is divinely guarded. She carries herself differently because she knows she has already overcome what should have destroyed her. That knowledge becomes her quiet confidence. Each new attack reminds her of the victories already won. She recalls the moments she thought she would not make it through, only to find herself standing taller on the other side. Those memories fuel her present battles, assuring her that if she has come this far, there is nothing that can fully take her down. Her history of survival becomes her testimony, and her testimony becomes her weapon. What should have broken her instead built her. Every attack left her stronger, more resilient, and more determined. She carries within her a spirit that refuses to bow to defeat. She is not naive to the reality of the battles, but she is certain of her ability to outlast them. With every blow she withstands, she proves again and again that she cannot be broken by the very things that were designed to destroy her, and her life becomes living evidence of unshakable resilience when she enters a room. There is something about her that shifts the atmosphere without her saying a word. It is not about how loudly she speaks or how much attention she seeks. It is about the quiet authority she carries within her spirit. People notice her presence even when she is silent, because what surrounds her is greater than what can be seen with the natural eye. There is a weight to her existence, a light that cannot be hidden, a strength that makes others pause and pay attention. Her presence is not built on outward appearances or the recognition of others. It flows from the depth of her character, from the power of her spirit, from the wisdom she carries in her heart. Even those who may not understand her faith can feel that there is something different about her, something unshakable, something that sets her apart. The presence she carries is not artificial, it is authentic, and authenticity always demands notice. She has walked through fire, and the fire has not consumed her. She has endured storms, and the storms have not drowned her. The residue of those battles radiates from her life in a way that cannot be ignored. People sense her strength without needing to hear her story. They feel the resilience in her step, the courage in her posture, the peace in her expression. It is the kind of presence that speaks louder than words ever could. This presence often unsettles those who are threatened by light, because it exposes what is hidden in darkness. Yet at the same time, it comforts those who are wary, because it offers a glimpse of hope. She doesn't have to force this reaction. It simply happens because the aura of her life carries both conviction and inspiration. Her very existence becomes a reminder that strength and grace can dwell in the same vessel. She carries a presence that influences environments. Walk into a space filled with tension, and her calm spirit disarms it. Step into a setting clouded by negativity, and her light begins to break through. It is not manipulation, nor is it performance. It is simply who she is, a woman whose presence cannot be diminished by circumstance or silenced by opposition. She is consistent in who she is, and that consistency builds trust in those who encounter her. Her presence is the result of alignment. She does not wander aimlessly. She walks with purpose. That sense of direction emanates from her like a fragrance, drawing others toward her without her needing to call for attention. People are drawn to her because she represents stability in a world that feels unstable, hope in a culture that often feels hopeless. Her presence becomes a safe place, a refuge, a reminder that strength wrapped in humility is powerful beyond measure. When she speaks, her words carry weight, but even before she speaks, her silence speaks for her. That is the kind of presence she has. She does not have to prove herself, because who she is proves itself. Those around her can sense that she carries something greater than herself, something that cannot be explained by charm or charisma. It is an undeniable authority that flows naturally because it is authentic. Her presence is not only seen in public, but felt in private. Even in the quiet moments, even when no one is watching, the strength she carries does not disappear. It is not a mask she wears, it is the reality of her spirit. And that reality follows her into every space she enters, creating impact without effort, leaving an imprint without intention. That kind of presence is not temporary, it is lasting. There are some who try to imitate presence with noise, with performance, with constant striving. But hers is different. Hers comes from within, from the battles fought, from the lessons learned, from the resilience that has been forged over time. That is why it cannot be faked, why it cannot be duplicated. Her presence is the kind that lingers long after she has left the room. The kind that people remember because it touched them deeply, without her needing to draw attention to herself. Her presence is a testimony of covering. It is a reflection of the unseen protection and guidance surrounding her. It is not about being the center of attention. It is about being a vessel through which strength, peace, and hope flow naturally. That presence cannot be ignored because it is more than just her. It is the evidence of something greater working through her, something powerful enough to leave an imprint wherever she goes. Wisdom is her crown, and it rests on her not because she has lived a flawless life, but because she has learned to listen beyond herself. She does not rely solely on her own understanding, for she knows that human reasoning has its limits. Instead, she leans into guidance that flows from a higher source. This wisdom allows her to see past the surface of things, to discern motives, to understand timing, and to recognize opportunities that others overlook. Her decisions reflect depth, and her actions reveal clarity that cannot be explained by natural logic alone. She has encountered situations that could have easily trapped her had she relied only on impulse. Instead of rushing, she pauses, she listens, she waits. In that stillness, answers rise within her spirit, and direction becomes clear. While others might act in haste and regret later, she chooses patience, and her patience is rewarded with outcomes that align with purpose. Her wisdom is not reactionary, it is rooted in foresight, enabling her to walk with confidence when others stumble in confusion. This wisdom shows itself in the way she speaks. Her words are not careless, they carry weight. When she opens her mouth, people listen because they know her speech is not empty. She does not waste language on gossip or meaningless chatter. Her voice is used to bring clarity, to encourage, to correct when necessary, and to build rather than tear down. Her wisdom seasons her words so that they carry power and leave an imprint on those who hear them. Her wisdom also shines in the way she chooses her battles. Not every insult deserves her attention. Not every fight is worth her energy. She knows when to speak and when to remain silent, when to step forward and when to step aside. This is not weakness, it is strategy. Wisdom teaches her that not all resistance is worth confronting, and not every mountain is meant to be climbed. Some things are better left untouched, and she knows the difference. In her relationships, this wisdom is her safeguard. She does not welcome just anyone into the intimate spaces of her life. She discerns who is genuine and who carries hidden agendas. She has the ability to see past charming words and look into the heart of a person's intentions. This discernment keeps her from being entangled in unnecessary pain. And even when she does face betrayal, she recognizes it not as a sign of her failure, but as part of her growth. Her wisdom influences the way she handles resources. She knows how to manage what she has, no matter how small or great it may be. She values stewardship, understanding that every blessing carries responsibility. She does not waste what has been entrusted to her, and this wise management opens doors for greater provision. Others may squander, but she multiplies. Others may complain of lack, but she sees opportunities to build, to plant, to invest, to grow. In times of crisis, her wisdom becomes most visible. When others lose their composure and act in panic, she remains composed. She gathers the facts, weighs the options, and seeks guidance before moving forward. Because of this, her actions often bring stability in unstable moments. People look to her not just because of her strength, but because of her ability to make sound decisions when pressure is at its peak. Her wisdom is not confined to knowledge or information. It is practical and lived out daily. It shows in the way she balances strength with gentleness, discipline with grace, truth with compassion. It reveals itself in how she navigates life with maturity, refusing to be swayed by every trend, every opinion, every shifting circumstance. She stands firm because her wisdom gives her a foundation that is not easily moved. Even in failure, her wisdom speaks. She does not view mistakes as the end, but as lessons to be learned. She extracts insight from every experience, refusing to waste the pain she has endured. Each setback becomes a teacher, and each disappointment becomes a classroom. Over time, this ability to learn rather than collapse makes her a reservoir of wisdom for others. People seek her out because they trust her judgment, knowing it is not based on pride, but on experience and divine guidance. This wisdom becomes her covering in life. It shields her from unnecessary harm, positions her for opportunities, strengthens her relationships, and guides her decisions. It is not the kind of wisdom that fades with age or circumstance. It deepens with every step she takes. Others see the fruit of it in her life, and they know there is something extraordinary about the way she carries herself. Her wisdom is a light that not only guides her path, but also illuminates the way for those who walk near her. There are seasons in her life when the weight pressed so heavily against her that others watching from the outside assumed she would never recover. The pain was sharp, the loss was real, and the struggle was relentless. Yet in the midst of it, she found a strength that went deeper than her own ability. She discovered that endurance is not about avoiding hardship, but about walking through it without losing herself. What others thought would break her became the very experience that taught her how strong she truly was. Her endurance is not loud or boastful. It is steady. It shows up in the way she continues to rise each morning, even when her nights have been filled with tears. It shows up in her ability to keep moving forward when her heart feels heavy. She does not always move quickly, but she does not stop. That quiet determination becomes her greatest weapon, carrying her further than talent, beauty, or resources ever could. People often wonder how she survived what they know would have destroyed them. They look at her story and see evidence of betrayal, of loss, of disappointment, of circumstances that seemed impossible to overcome. And yet she stands. Her endurance confuses those who believe strength must always look effortless. She has scars, but those scars are proof of survival. They are reminders that she endured storms that others would not have even attempted to walk through. Her endurance is not only for her benefit. By living through what she has, she becomes an example to others of what resilience looks like. She becomes living proof that hardship is not the end, but a doorway into deeper strength. People look at her and realize that they, too, can keep going even when life feels unbearable. Her endurance becomes a message that survival is possible, even in the darkest nights. She has endured loneliness that could have crushed her spirit. She has faced seasons of waiting that stretched her patience beyond what seemed humanly possible. She has carried burdens in silence that would have made others give up. Yet, instead of allowing these experiences to harden her, she has allowed them to build her. Her endurance has been shaped not by comfort, but by challenge, not by ease, but by trial. That shaping has given her a depth that cannot be manufactured. Endurance has taught her how to adapt. When life took away what she thought she needed, she learned to live without it and still keep going. When doors closed in her face, she did not sit in despair. She looked for another way. This adaptability is part of why she survives what others cannot. She does not waste time longing for what was lost. She uses her energy to discover what is still possible. This ability to keep moving when the familiar is gone is what makes her extraordinary. In the face of criticism, she endures. In the face of betrayal, she endures. In the face of exhaustion, she endures. Endurance is not just about surviving tragedies. It is about surviving the daily weight of disappointment, the constant pressure of responsibilities, the slow grind of challenges that wear on the soul. Each time she chooses to keep going, she strengthens her capacity to endure even greater trials. She becomes resilient not by avoiding the fire, but by walking through it again and again. Her endurance is quiet but powerful. She doesn't need to announce it because it speaks for itself. It speaks in the way she shows up even when she is weary. It speaks in the way she chooses faith, even when the evidence tells her otherwise. It speaks in the way she carries herself with dignity, even when life tries to strip it away. Her endurance has become her testimony, louder than words, stronger than explanations. Every season of endurance adds another layer of strength to her foundation. Each time she survives, she becomes harder to shake the next time. What might have broken her in the past now only makes her stronger. This is why she keeps surviving, because with each storm she endures, her capacity to withstand the next one increases. The trials don't weaken her, they fortify her. What others couldn't survive becomes the very thing that refines her character. Endurance molds her into a woman of depth, patience, wisdom, and courage. It keeps her standing when others have collapsed. It keeps her believing when others have lost hope. It keeps her walking when others have stopped. And through it all, she emerges not just as someone who endured, but as someone whose very life is marked by a strength that defies explanation. Greatness is never born without resistance, and her life is proof of it. The battles that find her are not random. They are drawn to the weight of her destiny. She does not seek conflict, yet it seems to seek her, because what she carries is too significant to go unnoticed. The very calling on her life becomes a magnet for trials, opposition, and warfare. The higher her purpose, the fiercer the attacks, and she has come to understand that the pressure she faces is directly tied to the greatness she is destined to walk in. From an early age, she may have sensed that her life was different. While others lived without resistance, she often found herself in situations where challenges seemed to multiply. Doors closed, opportunities slipped away, friendships betrayed her trust, and circumstances seemed designed to push her down. But with each battle came a realization. The fight wasn't against her worthlessness, it was against her potential. She was attacked not because she was weak, but because she was marked for something greater. She attracts battles in the areas where her future holds promise. If her destiny is to lead, then opposition rises against her confidence. If her destiny is to heal others, then sickness or brokenness tries to chain her spirit. If her destiny is to bring light, then darkness seeks to surround her. These battles are not coincidental. They are strategic because forces of resistance always try to break what they fear. Her battles reveal where her destiny lies, while others see her difficulties and wonder why she cannot catch a break. She has learned that opposition is often a compliment in disguise. It means she carries something valuable, something worth fighting for. Just as thieves don't target empty houses, battles do not pursue empty lives. Her destiny carries treasures, gifts, influence, strength that make her a target. Each battle is confirmation that she is not ordinary. These battles also shape her into the woman who can handle her destiny when it fully arrives. Without resistance, she would lack the endurance, wisdom, and authority necessary to carry the weight of her calling. Every fight strengthens her, chisels her character, and sharpens her discernment. She becomes wiser in relationships, stronger in faith, and braver in action because of the very opposition that was meant to defeat her. The battles she attracts are the very tools that prepare her for where she is going. The battles often appear right before major breakthroughs. It is as if resistance intensifies when she is closest to stepping into something greater. She has faced moments where everything seemed to collapse at once. Finances, relationships, health, and opportunities all under attack. Yet these seasons have taught her to recognize that when battles multiply, it is often a sign that her destiny is near. The fight is always fiercest at the edge of transformation. Her battles also serve as a signal to those watching her life. They see her stand in the face of adversity and are inspired by her resilience. Her ability to fight and not give up becomes a lesson to others about perseverance. She unknowingly teaches people that destiny is not cheap, that it requires courage, and that every great life comes with battles that must be endured. Her struggles, though painful, have ripple effects of encouragement for many around her. She has also learned that not every battle is physical, some are internal. The fight against fear, doubt, and discouragement is often greater than the battles others can see. But she faces them with the same determination, refusing to let them choke out her destiny. She may bend under pressure, but she does not break. The fight within her heart and mind is evidence of the greatness she is carrying, and she pushes through it to keep moving forward. Sometimes these battles isolate her. People may walk away because they don't understand the weight she carries. Friends may not see the invisible wars she fights daily. But even in isolation, she finds strength. She learns that destiny often requires solitude, that some battles must be fought alone, and that her victory will not only be personal, but generational. The battles she faces now pave the way for others who will come after her. Every battle she attracts refines her, strengthens her, and confirms her identity. She does not live under the illusion that a life of destiny is easy. Instead, she accepts that resistance is part of the journey. She embraces the truth that if she were not carrying something powerful, the battles would not be so fierce. Her destiny is the reason for the fight. And though the path is filled with resistance, she continues to walk forward, fully aware that the greatness within her is worth every struggle she faces. She does not waste her days comparing herself to others, because she has come to understand the power of knowing who she is. Her confidence is not rooted in titles, possessions, or outward appearances. It flows from an inner assurance that her worth is not up for debate. She does not beg for validation because she knows her value is already established. This confidence in her identity allows her to stand tall even in spaces where others may try to diminish her. She does not shrink to fit in. She expands to fill the room with authenticity. When she speaks, there is no tremor of uncertainty in her voice. She does not speak to impress, but her words impress because they are anchored in truth. She doesn't imitate others or chase trends in order to be accepted. Instead, she speaks and acts from a place of alignment with who she knows herself to be. This authenticity draws respect, even from those who may not agree with her. People recognize that she carries herself differently, not because she is flawless, but because she is unapologetically herself. Her confidence shines even when she fails. She is not defined by mistakes, and she does not crumble under the weight of imperfection. She knows that her identity is greater than a single moment, a single setback, or a single season. This unshakable understanding allows her to rise after falling, to learn without shame, and to keep moving forward without being imprisoned by regret. Where others might get stuck in failure, she sees it as part of the journey that is shaping her. She lives with confidence in her identity, even when others misunderstand her. Criticism may sting, but it does not shatter her. She understands that not everyone is meant to see her fully, and not everyone is qualified to define her. She no longer wastes time trying to explain herself to those committed to misunderstanding her. Instead, she stays focused on her purpose, allowing her life to speak louder than her defense. Her confidence radiates in the way she carries herself. She walks into rooms with a quiet strength, not needing to announce her presence, yet her presence is felt. She does not overcompensate or seek attention, but her assurance naturally draws it. People sense stability in her, and that stability makes others feel safe in her company. She does not need to prove she belongs. Her confidence already declares it. This confidence is also visible in the choices she makes. She is not easily swayed by fear of rejection or fear of failure. She chooses paths that align with her values. Even if they are unpopular, she makes decisions not out of desperation, but out of conviction. Because she is confident in who she is, she does not compromise for temporary approval. This strength of decision-making protects her from regrets that come from living to please others. Her confidence does not make her arrogant, it makes her free. Free to celebrate others without feeling threatened. Free to embrace opportunities without hesitation. Free to walk away from what does not serve her without feeling guilty. She can applaud another woman's success without questioning her own worth, because she knows her path is unique. This kind of freedom is only possible when identity is secure. Even in her relationships, her confidence sets the tone. She does not cling to people out of fear of abandonment. She loves fully, but she does not lose herself in the process. She knows she is whole even without external approval. This self-assurance keeps her from tolerating what diminishes her, and it empowers her to expect respect from those she allows close to her life. Because she knows her worth, she teaches others how to treat her. Her confidence is a shield against insecurity. While others may be swayed by comparisons, she has learned that comparison is a thief and refuses to give it power. She does not look at another's blessings as a threat to her own. She understands that her timing, her path, and her story are uniquely designed. This refusal to compete allows her to live with peace, while many exhaust themselves chasing after an image of worth that was never theirs to begin with. Her identity is not fragile, and that is what makes her confidence so unshakable. No season, no opinion, no failure, and no success can redefine her. She lives with the kind of assurance that allows her to move boldly, to take risks, to dream without fear, and to stand firm when life tries to push her down. Her confidence is not an act, it is the fruit of knowing exactly who she is, and she carries that knowledge with a strength that makes her unstoppable in every season of her life. She moves through life with an awareness that goes beyond what the eyes can perceive. While others may only see what is visible, she is able to sense what is hidden beneath the surface. Her discernment is like a compass that keeps her from being misled by appearances. She can tell when someone's words don't match their intentions, when an opportunity is not as good as it looks, or when danger is quietly trying to present itself as something harmless. This ability protects her and guides her steps into places where she will thrive instead of stumble. Her discernment is not merely intuition. It is a deep sensitivity to truth. She recognizes what feels out of place even when everyone else is comfortable. She notices the subtleties others miss, the tone in a voice, the hesitation in a promise, the inconsistencies in a story. These details may seem small to those around her, but to her, they are signals. They help her understand situations with clarity that others overlook. It is this gift of discernment that allows her to stay ahead of traps designed to hold her back. She has learned through experience that not everyone who smiles is a friend, and not every door that opens should be walked through. Because of her discernment, she does not rush to embrace everything that looks appealing. She weighs the cost, she listens for alignment, and she waits for confirmation. Her patience and decision-making frustrates some, but it protects her from unnecessary pain. Where others run ahead and later regret, she holds back until she knows the path is safe. Her discernment also shows in the relationships she builds. She may be kind to many, but she is close to few. She does not allow just anyone access to her inner circle, because she can sense the energy they bring. She knows when someone's presence will drain her spirit, or when it will nurture her growth. This discernment is why she has avoided bonds that could have destroyed her, and why the connections she does keep are deep, loyal, and meaningful. In moments of confusion, she relies on this inner vision to cut through the noise. While others panic in uncertainty, she waits quietly and listens. Answers come to her not because she forces them, but because her discernment opens her ears to wisdom that others dismiss. She doesn't need to know everything at once. She only needs to know what the next right step is, and that step always becomes clear in due time. Her discernment gives her the ability to sense when seasons are shifting. She can feel when it is time to let go, when it is time to prepare, and when it is time to step forward. This awareness allows her to move in alignment with timing instead of being caught off guard by sudden change. While others are surprised by transitions, she is often already prepared because she sensed the shift long before it became obvious. She also uses her discernment to protect her peace. She knows when a conversation is leading toward conflict, and she chooses silence instead of unnecessary argument. She knows when a situation will steal her joy, and she steps away before it drains her. This doesn't mean she avoids challenges, but rather that she refuses to waste energy on things that are not worth fighting for. Her ability to choose her battles wisely is rooted in discernment. Her discernment is not just about avoiding danger, it is also about recognizing opportunity. She can see doors that others walk past without noticing. She can feel when a moment is right to act, even when circumstances don't look favorable. This awareness allows her to seize opportunities that others miss. Her success is often tied not to having more resources, but to recognizing when to move and when to wait. She does not take credit for this gift because she knows it is not something that can be taught. While knowledge can be gained and skills can be developed, discernment is a deeper sensitivity that has been cultivated through trials, through stillness, and through experience. Her journey has sharpened her senses, teaching her to trust the unseen even more than the seen. It is this inner vision that gives her an edge in life. When she walks with discernment, she carries a quiet authority. People may not understand how she knew what she knew, but they respect the fruit of her decisions. Her life becomes evidence that discernment is a shield, a guide, and a light in dark places. While others stumble in deception, she continues to walk with clarity, guided not by appearances, but by the deeper truths that only she can see. She knows her own strength has limits, and she does not pretend otherwise. There are moments when her body grows weary, when her emotions feel heavy, and when her mind is filled with questions she cannot answer. Yet, even in those moments, she does not collapse under the weight because she has tapped into a strength that does not come from within herself. This strength flows from a deeper source, one that renews her when she has nothing left to give. It is not about her willpower alone. It is about being sustained by something greater than her. When challenges rise like waves, she does not rely solely on her own ability to swim. She has learned to reach for the strength that is beyond her, a strength that carries her when she cannot carry herself. This is why she survives seasons that others thought would drown her. She does not boast in her own capacity, because she knows it was never enough on its own. She has experienced firsthand what it means to be upheld when everything inside her wanted to let go. Her strength beyond her own is most visible in her weakest moments. When her voice trembles in prayer, when her tears fall in silence, when her heart feels like it cannot bear another burden, this is when that greater strength rises within her. It meets her where her humanity ends. It lifts her from the ground when she has no energy to rise. It steadies her steps when her knees are shaking. The world may see her standing and assume it is her own strength, but she knows it is borrowed power that keeps her upright. This strength gives her courage to face situations she would otherwise avoid. She steps into challenges not because she feels ready, but because she trusts she will be sustained in the process. Fear does not disappear, but it does not control her, because she draws on a strength stronger than fear. Her life is a testimony that bravery is not the absence of weakness, but the ability to move forward in spite of it, because of a strength that cannot run dry. She has learned that this strength beyond her own is not something that comes all at once. It often shows up just when she needs it. It doesn't always remove the difficulty, but it gives her what is necessary to endure it. She doesn't always feel powerful in the moment, but looking back, she can see how she was carried through things she could not have survived by herself. This realization humbles her and deepens her trust in the source of that strength. Her reliance on strength beyond her own teaches her to live without fear of depletion. She does not worry about running out of energy, love, or hope, because she knows she is connected to something that never runs out. This allows her to give freely, to love deeply, and to endure patiently. She doesn't hoard her strength as if it were scarce. She shares it, knowing that every time she feels empty, she will be filled again. This strength changes the way she handles suffering. Instead of seeing hardship as an end, she views it as a place where her deeper strength is revealed. Pain does not define her, because she has seen how even in pain, she can be upheld. She can sit in sorrow without being consumed by it, because she knows she is not sitting alone. Her life demonstrates that brokenness does not have to mean defeat. It can become the very place where hidden strength is discovered. Her strength beyond her own also gives her perspective. When faced with choices, she does not panic, because she knows she is not left to figure it all out by herself. She has access to wisdom and guidance that give her clarity in confusion. This steadiness keeps her from spiraling into despair when life feels uncertain. She carries herself with calmness that others cannot explain, because she has confidence that her strength does not depend on her circumstances. This strength allows her to keep showing up, even when she feels inadequate. Even when life is heavy, she continues to rise and to move. She does not allow weakness to paralyze her, because she knows her ability to stand does not rest on her alone. People may marvel at her resilience, wondering how she continues to give when she has been emptied so many times. The answer is not found in her human capacity, but in the unseen strength that keeps refilling her every time she feels drained. Her entire life becomes evidence of what it means to live beyond human limits. She has faced storms, betrayals, losses, and battles that could have destroyed her. But she continues to stand because she is not leaning solely on herself. The strength that sustains her is bigger, deeper, and stronger than anything the world can throw at her. This is why she does not fear what comes next. She knows that when her own strength ends, the greater strength will always begin. Her life speaks louder than her words, and without even realizing it, she inspires those who cross her path. She does not set out to be a role model, yet people find themselves encouraged just by watching the way she carries herself. Her quiet resilience, her consistency, and her grace under pressure become lessons to those who are searching for strength in their own journeys. She doesn't need to announce that she is an example. Her very presence teaches without effort. She inspires because she is authentic. People can see that she is not pretending to be perfect, and that honesty draws them in. They are comforted by the fact that she has struggles too, yet she chooses to face them with courage. Her transparency makes her relatable, and her perseverance makes her admirable. Without trying to impress anyone, she shows others that it is possible to live truthfully and still rise above challenges. Her influence extends beyond what she says. The way she treats others, with kindness and respect, leaves an impression. The way she listens with patience, even when she disagrees, shows maturity. The way she forgives when she has every reason to hold on to bitterness challenges others to reflect on their own choices. It is not grand speeches or public recognition that make her inspiring. It is the daily, consistent choices she makes that reveal her strength of character. Even in silence, she inspires. People watch how she endures difficulty without collapsing. They watch how she remains calm in chaos, how she chooses peace over conflict, how she keeps moving forward when life tries to hold her back. Her actions become unspoken encouragement to those who feel overwhelmed. They look at her and realize that if she can keep going, maybe they can too. She does not chase applause, yet she receives it. She does not seek admiration, yet people admire her. What makes her inspiring is that she is not trying to prove anything. She is simply living true to who she is. This effortless authenticity makes her stand out in a world full of people striving to be noticed. While others exhaust themselves trying to be an influence, she naturally becomes one because her life aligns with her values. She inspires others because she never loses hope. Even when her circumstances are difficult, she chooses to believe in better days. That hope is contagious. It spreads to those around her who may have been tempted to give up. Her faith, her optimism, and her steady belief that things can improve lift others from despair. She doesn't preach it with words. She demonstrates it by refusing to give in to hopelessness. Her strength and vulnerability is another source of inspiration. She does not hide her wounds as if they were shameful. Instead, she embraces them as part of her story. By doing so, she shows others that brokenness is not the end, but a pathway to deeper strength. People who feel damaged or unworthy look at her and find comfort in knowing that pain does not disqualify them from living with purpose. She also inspires by the way she pursues growth. She is not stagnant, content with who she was yesterday. She keeps learning, keeps evolving, keeps striving to become a better version of herself. This commitment to growth challenges others to do the same. They see her transformation and realize that they too have the ability to change and rise higher. Her journey becomes a mirror, reflecting back to others the possibilities within themselves. Even in her smallest acts, she inspires. A smile to a stranger, a word of encouragement to someone struggling, a simple act of generosity. All of these leave ripples that she may never fully see. People remember how she made them feel, and long after she has moved on, the impact of her kindness remains with them. She teaches others that inspiration doesn't always come from big platforms, but from everyday choices made with love and intention. She does not need recognition to know her life matters. She is content knowing that her example speaks in places where her voice never reaches. She inspires the discouraged to rise, the broken to heal, the fearful to try again, and the weary to keep going. Without trying, she becomes a light in the lives of many, guiding them not by instruction but by example, not by force but by simply being who she was created to be. A woman guarded by angels is a living testimony of heaven's protection. Every step, every victory, every moment of endurance is proof that unseen warriors walk beside her. When you see these signs in your own life, remember, you are covered, you are carried, and you are never fighting alone.